It was the largest tank battle in history, a clash of steel and fire that would decide the fate of the Eastern Front. The Battle of Kursk, fought in the summer of 1943, was Hitler's last chance to regain the upper hand against the Soviet Union. But instead, it became one of his greatest failures. Welcome to Echoes of Time, and today we dive into the battle that changed the course of World War II. By early 1943, after their crushing defeat at Stalingrad, the Germans were desperate to regain control on the Eastern Front. Hitler set his sights on Kursk, a bulge in Soviet lines, believing a decisive attack could destroy the Red Army's offensive power. The Germans planned Operation Citadel, a massive pincer attack designed to encircle and annihilate Soviet forces. But the Soviets were ready. Stalin and his top commanders, including Georgy Zhukov, anticipated the attack and prepared a defense like never before. They built thousands of miles of trenches, laid over 1 million mines, and positioned thousands of anti-tank guns. The Red Army was determined to turn Kursk into a death trap. On July 5, 1943, the Germans launched their attack with 2,700 tanks, 4,000 aircraft, and nearly 800,000 troops. The Luftwaffe bombarded Soviet positions, while massive tank formations advanced across the open plains of Kursk. The Germans believed their superior armor and blitzkrieg tactics would crush the Soviet defenses quickly. But the Soviets had anticipated everything. Minefields shredded German armor, while Soviet artillery and anti-tank guns rained destruction on advancing panzers. The Germans fought desperately, but every inch forward came at a heavy cost. The battle reached its climax on July 12th at Prokhorovka, one of the largest tank battles in history. 850 Soviet tanks charged into battle against 700 German tanks in a chaotic, brutal melee. The fields of Kursk became a hellscape of fire and steel as tanks fired at point-blank range. Despite suffering massive losses, the Soviets overwhelmed the Germans with sheer numbers and relentless counterattacks. The German advance stalled, and the Soviets began their own offensive. By July 16th, the Germans were in full retreat. The Red Army launched its own counteroffensive, driving the Germans back across the Eastern Front. The tide of war had officially turned. Hitler had gambled everything on Kursk and lost. The Battle of Kursk was the final nail in the coffin for Nazi Germany's ambitions in the East. After this defeat, the Wehrmacht would never again launch a major offensive on the Eastern Front. The Battle of Kursk wasn't just a battle, it was a turning point in history. It marked the beginning of the Red Army's unstoppable advance toward Berlin. With Kursk, the Soviets had proven that Nazi Germany was no longer invincible. Subscribe to Echoes of Time for more incredible stories from history. See you in the next video.